So
Okay. I can't shake the feeling that we're like very similar people, especially as
we're twinning right now.
I know. Hey there, welcome back to The Real Tea. My name is Tia, and today I am with a very special guest, my mom, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
So besides being a boss at motherhood, tennis, basically everything else she does, my mom also went to Cal.
Go Bears!
Yeah, so I thought it'd be really fun to compare what Cal was like then versus now. We're going to be deep diving into both of our college experiences, so this should be fun. Okay, so I guess we should get into it by talking about what made you choose Cal.
Okay, well, I didn't really choose Cal. My parents chose Cal for me.
Oh, no.
Well, you have to understand, my parents are immigrants. They came over to America in their mid-30s to get a better life for their children. And overseas, abroad in Asia, Cal has a sterling reputation. I mean, it's like the Harvard of the East, the Far East.
Yeah.
So my parents were like, yeah, you're going to be going to Cal if you get in. And I, of course, wanted to go to USC. I wanted to be a journalism major. Mm-hmm. And Cal doesn't have an undergraduate journalism program. So I applied to both for them. I applied to Cal for myself to USC, and I got into both. Got a 4-year scholarship to USC, and they said, no, you're going to Cal.
Yeah, well, it was fate. I guess
so.
Maybe we'll just call it that. Yeah,
I was happy with it in the end result.
I was not forced into going to Cal. Funny enough.
Nope.
Yeah, she can attest. But I just heard so many great stories about your college experience. It wasn't like the only thing that helped me decide, but it definitely influenced it positively. So, what was it like living in the dorms?
Oh,
in the late
goodness.
80s.
Early to late 80s, yes. I was in the dorm my freshman year at Spence Black, which is Unit 3.
Still there.
Which is directly below Telegraph and on Durant. And I was on the street side. So yeah, it was really interesting living in the dorms. The plus side was that I was across the street from Yogurt Park, my favorite place to eat. I literally ate there every single day. I think of my Cal career. I think I used to get a large for like $1.35. And they pack it.
Their larges are so
yeah, and the larges are good. They're big. And then you get like the topping, but then you ask for half a topping in a cup so that you don't take any of the room up for the topping for the yogurt. You gotta maximize, Tia. Or you order a small and you ask them to put in a large cup because you're going to get a topping. And then because they put it in a large cup, they just fill it up.
You know how to work the system.
And I also had their telephone number written on my, telephone dial pad that I would dial pad every day. I would call them up for their 6 recorded flavors.
Let's deep dive into what being a student was like without technology. Because I feel like we don't even think about all the cool gadgets we get to play up with,
True. So if you had a paper due, you had to write it first, and then you had to either hire somebody to type it for you on a typewriter, which means you have to plan ahead to get it done in time to turn in. And the typewriter is not a computer. You
can't just
type a line, and then if you want to erase it, you have to take out the ink cartridge and put in the eraser cartridge and then backspace it over what you typed.
So hard.
And there was no internet, so you couldn't do research by
Googling everything.
It. Yeah, no. So you had to go to the library and look it up and look it in books.
And then how would you meet up with people if you can't text them?
Either you saw them in the dorms and say, hey, you want to meet around noon?
But if you're not geographically close by,
you don't. You have to call them on the phone.
On the phone?
You can call them on the phone and make an appointment.
They're going to pick up the dial.
And make an appointment. Yeah, you had to really plan ahead of time and call people and make an appointment.
I don't know if I could do that.
And I think some of the thing about your generation is that it's too easy to just cancel out of things because you can text somebody at the last minute and say, sorry, I can't make it. But back in the day, you'd be standing there for an hour thinking, where's my friend?
That's so sad.
So you couldn't do that as easily. And also registration. Okay, so yeah, you guys register online. We actually had to go to Sproul and to whichever, if you're an English major, you go to Wheeler Hall. And
you would physically walk there.
You had your course catalog that you had perused.
A paper catalog.
And then you actually had to turn in a registration slip for each class you wanted to get into. And then they could tell you, okay, yeah, you're in. Okay, no, it's full. Okay, you're on the wait list.
So they would fill up, the classes would fill up as you
stand in line. You stood in line.
How long did it take?
You had to go to different buildings depending on which classes you wanted to take. So you had to strategically plan it.
I thought it was hard enough with virtual wait lists.
No, you actually had to do a
Cal
wait
Central.
list. No.
You had to stand there.
You had to stand there and turn in your slip.
Oh my god. Can I ask what like fashion was like back then? Like I've seen some photos of your big hair.
I had big hair. Big hair was big in the 80s. I mean, big. And the Farrah Fawcett wave, everybody wanted that.
Yeah.
I didn't really do so well because my hair doesn't curl very well.
Asian hair, yeah.
Yes, Asian hair did not curl well. And then, what was big shoulder pads were in back in the day. Probably whatever you see in the movies is very accurate.
Why don't we get into the best football game
Woo!
while you were there?
1982, the play. I
Yeah.
was there in the audience.
That's so cool.
That has got to be the highlight of going to Cal football games for me. I remember freshman year, we went to the big game. It was at Stanford. It rained the entire game. It was so boring. We lost.
That was also my freshman big game. It rained and we lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that in my sophomore year, it was my first home Cal game. And we win in the final minutes, and it's such an exciting game that we all rushed the field afterwards, and it was historic. I mean, to this day, people still know about the play.
Yeah. She still goes crazy at the TV, even
I still
at
watch
home.
Cal football for
Every
sure.
game, she's like, "Go Cal!"
I'm texting Tia, she's in the library studying. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're ahead! We scored! Oh no, we're behind! We're losing!
You're a
She's
way
like,
bigger fan.
studying, Mom.
Did you have any Bezerkeley moments?
Of course, there was the anti-apartheid movement when I was there in the early 80s, and so I participated in that and slept out on Sproul Plaza in
That's
protest
so
of what was going on. And then we also had the tuition hike increase protest that I participated in. So when I went to Cal my freshman year, it was still in the quarter system, and even with all 3 quarters, the tuition was under $1,000 for the year, which is unbelievable to think of today.
Uh-huh.
But then my junior year, Cal switched over to the semester system, and in that same year, the tuition was going to be over $1,000.
Ooh,
And
we
we
can't
thought,
have that.
blasphemy! No
Yeah.
way!
So high.
They're robbing us, those regions. So we protested.
Wow. Today it's just casually like $13,000 for in-state residents to go to Cal, and I think it's like $60,000 or more for out-of-state,
Yeah.
international, and all that stuff. I have not slept on the steps of Sproul, so you're way cooler than I am. That's what we've concluded from that. Let's get into being an RA, because
Okay.
I'm an RA now, so this should be fun.
Yes, sophomore year I became an RA, and then my junior year I was called assistant hall coordinator, which meant that I was responsible for hall association activities, like you are now, with like the hall reps, planning the social activities. So on top of free room and board for doing that, I got a stipend. I got paid. In my day, we had 4 undergraduate students living in the dorms, and that was it. We were responsible for everything.
You were your own bosses.
We were our own bosses.
Yeah.
I mean, we reported to the housing office, but they were literally there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So on the weekends when, most of the action's happening,
Yeah.
no adults around to supervise.
That must be kind of scary.
I don't think we thought of it back then. I mean, I didn't. I was
just
like,
handled
oh,
it.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
We also planned parties for our residents back in the day, Like,
Oh,
we
God.
would have one big social event each quarter or each semester, and
It got crazy.
it got crazy, yeah. And we planned it, and we put it on with Hall Association funds.
Ooh!
Yeah, and that was like
Such
a big
a party.
event, and everybody showed up.
Everyone showed up.
Everybody came.
Wow. Well, first of all, our tracks are very similar. In my sophomore year, I became an RA. My junior year, now I'm the senior RA. But also, I feel like it's very different. It's a lot more structured now.
I think they've reeled it in. I
They've
think they realized what was going on.
Yeah, I gotta calm it down after your crazy parties,
Yeah.
probably. Oh, and then do you do reunions with your residents, right?
Oh, yes. So my residents, the ones that I'm still friends with, this group that lived in my dorm, they're the same people that Tia and I stayed with when we went for Cal Day.
I met them. They're really cool.
Yeah, so they've all stayed in touch, and they've been having reunions ever since we graduated. I've just recently
cute.
come to the table late since I now have a daughter in Cal. There's like a good group of us that get together, not every year, maybe every 2 or 3 years. We just went to one in Seattle this past summer when we went, took you up, or saw you first.
RA training.
Yeah, for RA training. Then we went up to Seattle, and that was super fun. I mean, we still talk about the dorm days and the people we knew.
When they get together, it's so weird. You're all like 18, 19 again. It's something to see.
But we reminisce back on the day, like the stupid things we used to do. and the things that we used to do to each other, you know, and things we did to get in trouble, and oh my God.
I thought you were the RA of this group.
I was the RA. But they didn't always live in my dorms. After that, they moved
right,
out.
afterward,
I wasn't responsible for them anymore.
Yeah. If you could sum up what Berkeley has taught you in a few short sentences, what would you say?
Hang in there until you get what you want, because nothing's handed to you at Cal. I mean, just like registration. That has really prepared me for life. Like, persistency pays off.
I remember you telling me about like what that was gonna be like in college when I decided to go to Berkeley, and I think that helped me prepare, like going into the mindset of like, okay, no one's gonna be holding my hand. I'm gonna have to do these things myself. But then you do it, and you like learn from it, and it's great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For coming on. Yeah,
that was really fun to think
That
back.
was so fun, just learning about your college experience. I really think you have been and always will be way cooler than me.
I don't know.
Like, honestly. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that video, found it somewhat entertaining. Please subscribe to The Realty, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, all that jazz. Yeah, she's the OG Cal Bear. So, thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
That was cool.